I would refer to this divorce between the church and artists during the 20th century, and that the church, on its part, has followed what I would call the commodification of culture during the 20th century, where things are bought and sold, cultural things such as music, and that for artists on our part, we've followed this mode of self-expression to the exclusion of creating art that actually speaks to people, and so I would place the fault on both sides, and I would say the solution is also on both sides to this, whereby the church can engage artists, and I don't think that the church has to be afraid to engage artists on its own terms. That we can commission works of art that are specifically for the glory of God, and the artist who is engaged can choose to participate or not in that. But if they take the gig, then it's with the understanding that they're being there to compose music, or create a painting or draw plans for a piece of architecture that would be glorifying to God from the church's perspective. Does that take their individuality out of it? No, I would say not. I mean, if you're going to commission a composer, you probably know their work. You have a sense of who they are as a musician, so their style and how they compose music. So that's the beginning point. Or otherwise, why would you choose them? Same thing with visual arts and other kinds of arts. So like I say, both sides, both the artists and the church have participated in this division. But I think that there's an open door of opportunity. The other thing that I would say about it is that artists that I am involved with today, I do a lot of contemporary music, for instance, and the music that's being composed today seems to have come kind of full circle, and I see parallels in the other arts in the sense that at the beginning of the 20th century, post World War I, things kind of fell apart, and you can understand why it did. That the artistic expressions tended to be angry and alienating and so on and so forth. It sort of paralleled the climate in the culture. And so what sort of happened in the middle of the 20th century was this experimentalism, individualism, self-expression was kind of hit a fever pitch. It was all-encompassing. And what I've seen since the mid-20th century is artists sort of coming back and taking those explorations that they experimented with in the mid-20th century and bringing them full circle into music and other art forms that are communicating more directly to a much broader audience. Whereas in the middle of the 20th century, you had to be pretty specialized in order to really enter into the art world, to go into an art gallery and look at things that were ugly or that didn't seem like even like what we would consider to be art. You had to enter into that psychological space, philosophical space, in order to be able to engage with the art at all. Now what I see is that artists are using those moments, the things that we learned in the middle of the 20th century, and using them in ways that are much more communicative.